Billy, Harvey, and I decided to do a record together a few months prior to October 26th, 2007. I wanted it to be rhythmic. I wasn't going so much for a rock thing as something that was rhythmic, very rhythmic.
That's pretty fucking cool.
Billy and I met when he was on tour with Bob Schneider, a singer-songwriter from Austin. I toured with him for a few months.
The second cycle of it, are we going back, or are we gonna keep it?
I don't know. That shit was. We'll see if it's. I always thought we would go back.
I hear him going like a big snare roll out of that into a tight jamming groove outro that's not broken up.
Yeah, totally.
When I was looking to make this record, I was talking to Bob on the phone, and he said, "You should really listen to some of the stuff Billy's producing." And so Billy sent me a CD of some of the stuff he'd been working on, and I fell in love with it, and particularly his production. So once we decided to do a record together, we talked for a pretty long time about who should play on the record and what the record was, what we hoped it would sound like. We talked about the studios that we were going to work in, and everything sort of just fell together over the course of a few weeks. The session pretty much was booked around J.J. Johnson, the drummer's time, when he was available off the road. Once we knew when he could do the record, then we started to call everybody else. George Reef, first time I met him was when I was on the same tour with Bob Schneider. When his name came up to play bass on the record, I had seen him play with Chris Robinson, and I knew he was good, and so that wasn't a tough decision, and it turned out to be a really good decision because I can't imagine anybody else having done it. J.J. Johnson I didn't know before we recorded the record, but I had seen him perform once with John Mayer, and then once on television. I had watched a special he did on the Sundance Channel with John Mayer live at Abbey Road, and was just completely into what he was doing in that band. I was thrilled to have him play on the record.
Tonight I want to leave tall buildings in a single bound, when I'm feeling like a stranger in this head town is a great
John Ginty, he played the keys. I first met John when I was on tour opening for Citizen Cope, and was just floored by his playing. And he's also a really, really fun guy to be around. So we had a good time getting to know each other on that tour. And then when we were looking for a keyboard player, he was off the road with Citizen Cope. So he came down from New Jersey on 2 separate trips. Also, Dave Monzi played on What Are You Looking For? He played on The Only One, and he played on No Place Like Home. JJ, as a drummer, sort of set the tone for a lot of the foundation of the rhythms of the songs, and was a real important part of coming up with a lot of the character of the songs. I feel like if you listen to the recordings that everybody seemed to find their place that was in the room, and there's a lot of space, and nobody seemed to be playing over anyone else. This friend of mine, a singer-songwriter friend of mine, he recorded at Jack Rock Studio in Austin, Texas. It was owned by Jack Rock, and it's in his home, and this guy is just, he's a really cool guy, and all the cool old vintage gear that was there, and some of it was really, really rare. I think he could put most of the gear that he has in the studio together and take it apart again, or build it if he wanted to. So he was an extra ingredient in the making of this record, and also the engineer Jim Valentine was was great, and he knows the studio well because he spent a lot of time there. And I would say he probably knows it. He definitely knows it better than anyone. And so we were lucky to have him there.
If we never grow up, baby, what can we be? I could be your camera, and through me you can see that you can't hide.
The weather was beautiful. It kind of reminded me of what I imagined recording in the Hollywood Hills would be like. Although I doubt there's a place quite like that anywhere.
Like a bird, like a plane. Like a bird, like a plane.
It was crisp and kind of fall-like, even though it probably should have been winter at the time, or at least winter was creeping in.
Like a bird, like a plane. I know you think that these are walls of stone and that you made your heart a lonely home. If you give me a little time.
When we started out to make the record, just a few things that I was trying to do with this record. We wanted to get as much of it as we could live, just because I was acting under the premise. I don't know if it's true or not, but a lot of the records that I enjoy and listen to and love are live, and so I wanted this record to have a live feel to it. It wasn't something that was set in stone, but we wanted to get as much as we could. I think 4 of the songs on the record are pretty much live in the room. Vocal and all the playing on it is live, except for maybe 1 or 2 percussion overdubs or something like that afterwards. But which was really cool, and it was the first time that I had done something like that in a while. And it's not easy to do to get live takes that sound good enough to put them out on a record, and I attribute that largely to the quality of musicianship that was in the room. We were listening to the playbacks in the studio, and I just felt like we had something special. It turns out, that every song after that continued to feel the same way, so it was a super cool thing.
Put it all to another day. 'Cause tomorrow it never comes. When you come my way, I feel fine. We are a cure together, babe. When you come my way, I feel fine. We're a cure together, babe, in the heart. Why don't you meet me by the back door?
It really just felt like some friends coming together and recording a record that happened very naturally. We came up with something that I feel like was a realization of the hopes that I'd had for going in to make this record, and it was a lot of fucking fun. It was a lot of fucking fun. I hope that you enjoy it. Okay.
We can move some of those around and see what doubling versus whatever sounds like.